A military bride found dead.
It's a kill that's more than a murder.
A secret life exposed.
It was very, very confusing to me. I didn't know what had happened.
A suspect that no one saw coming.
It turned into be something much more than what people expected.
Early morning, March 26, 1985. A construction foreman arriving for work finds an abandoned car with its headlights on and engine running.
It's the kind of thing where this doesn't seem right. Was it some kids just goofing around? Maybe out joyriding and stole a car and then decided to put it in this construction area?
The foreman calls the police to report the unusual discovery.
The police officer that gets there sees the burning, smells the gasoline, and sees a purse on the floorboard on the passenger side.
The officer also sees a pair of women's shoes. He turns off the ignition. Circling the car, he opens the trunk. And what he finds is shocking. It's the dead body of a female, approximately 30 years old. A murder victim found in the trunk of a car brings the head of the Major Crimes Unit, Lieutenant Joe Kenda, to the scene.
At this moment, I'm looking at this car, I see her in it. Somebody killed her, no question of homicide. She had pantyhose tightly wrapped around her neck. Face is purple and distorted from the pressure of ligature strangulation. Who did you make so mad that they had to do this to you? Because you made somebody real mad. It's a kill that's more than a murder. To kill is not enough. I want to punish you. I want to feel you die. Very, very personal. And very, very angry. That tells me whoever is responsible for this, my opinion, knows this woman and knows her well. And she said or did something that made this person absolutely enraged.
Lieutenant Kenda studies the scene and tries to make sense of what had happened.
I'm looking around at the tire tracks coming off the road. It's a 90-degree angle to this piece of equipment. And none of it makes any sense to me at all. How did this get here? And how come nobody got out of it? Because there's no footprints here that were unaccounted for. So how did this car manage to wander over here at idle speed and be in gear and dink into this piece of equipment and have this dead woman in the trunk? A pure mystery. It's like none of it made sense. I need to know more, and I need to know it right away.
Arson investigators examine the burn damage.
The burn pattern on the seats indicated the use of an accelerant, in this case gasoline.
The forensic unit also examines the car for clues. On the driver's side floorboard is a large brick.
Somebody put it there for a reason. We don't know what that reason is, but we know when you buy a Thunderbird, you don't get a brick as a extra part. It looked as if someone was trying to use the brick to press down on the accelerator to make the car drive into the machinery. Somebody's trying to destroy this car and her with it. Maybe to prevent it from being discovered as a murder. But somebody wanted this car to go away. They just didn't know how.
The purse found inside the car contains a driver's license, identifying the victim as 28-year-old Lourdes Riddle. A check on the vehicle shows that it's registered to her husband, Mark Riddle. Mark is a member of the Air Force currently working at NORAD, a top-secret military complex located underneath Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado Springs.
I wondered if this murder had anything to do with Mark's work. This case was getting more interesting by the minute.
While Kenda continues processing the crime scene, 2 U.S. Air Force investigators show up and announce they are taking charge.
When I'm at a crime scene, I'm in charge of it. I own it, even if it's your house. Not right now, it isn't. It's my house. How dare you walk into my crime scene? Who the hell are you?
But the Air Force investigators throw Kenda a curveball. They already have Mark Riddle in custody.
I was absolutely shocked when they said they had the husband at their office on Peterson. Why do you have the husband at your office? And when he looked at me and said, it's obvious, it's her husband. Well, it's not obvious to me.
Husbands and boyfriends are typically the first suspected in any murder investigation. But Lieutenant Kenda fears that this murder case has been tainted because of the immediate arrest.
I make my own mistakes in murder cases, but I really get upset when somebody makes them for me. We have an outside agency that has no jurisdiction, that has their hands on Mark Riddle. What if they advise him of his rights and he wants a lawyer? And all I want to do is talk to him. I don't want to accuse him of anything. But their actions could prevent me from doing that, which could really damage this case.
Lieutenant Kenda sets out to interview Mark Riddle. He wants to see for himself why Lourdes' husband is such a good suspect.
Well, we want to question Mark, of course, but we certainly don't want to accuse him of anything because we have no idea what happened here. And they certainly didn't either.
It was very, very confusing to me. I didn't know what had happened. They told me that there was an incident that had occurred concerning my car that Lourdes and I had. And that's all they told me.
I say, Mark, I want to advise you of your rights before we go any further, so I give him his rights under Miranda. He waives. Good. Now I want to hit him with something hard to see how he reacts. So I say, Mark, you do realize your wife is never coming home.
After police find Lourdes Riddle strangled to death in the trunk of her car, Lieutenant Joe Kenda interrogates her husband, Air Force Tech Sergeant Mark Riddle.
In the Riddle case, the facts are telling me very close, very personal, very angry. Mark is a consideration. He's just a consideration. He's the husband. He is close. He's on the list. Who else could be on this list? I don't yet know. The only thing I know for sure is somebody who knew her and knew her well did this.
At that point, they told me that that my wife was found in our car on Fountain Boulevard in Colorado Springs, and that she was deceased. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to react. I think I was just in shock that this had happened to her.
Mark says Lourdes was born in the Philippines, but that the two met while in Florida. Each had a child from a previous relationship.
She was very outgoing, very energetic, and a very likable person. She was very talented with singing, and she was a good performer, actually.
She liked to play bingo, she liked to eat, and she liked to cook. She just seemed like a happy person who enjoyed life. The people that I've talked to who knew her well, knew her when she was alive, they loved her. Even now, talking to them about it, they have strong feelings about her loss, that it was a loss, that she was a lively person that was you would like to have in a room.
They're married for 9 years when we find Lourdes Riddle in the 5400 block of Fountain Boulevard. So they're a family. But the question becomes, what kind of family?
Police ask Mark about the state of his marriage and learn that there's trouble in paradise.
Mark admitted that he knew his wife was seeing other men and possibly slept with other men.
It's something that he's always sort of known, but it's become more obvious to him lately. They've had discussions about it, he and Lordis. Mark says he speaks to Lordis about it, says he wants this behavior to stop. Lourdes promises him she will stop, that she will stop seeing and meeting other men. Mark knows that she's not stopping. They are not happily married. No question about that. The question is Mark unhappy enough to end his wife's life as opposed to just their marriage?
Police know adultery is always a good motive. They grill Mark regarding his activities the night of his wife's murder.
Mark said the last time he saw his wife was on the previous morning when she dropped him off at work at NORAD. He said he caught a ride home with a coworker, but when he arrived home, she wasn't there.
Mark says that he spent the entire night at home and never left the house.
Mark Riddle did not have an alibi, per se, for the hours thought to be the time between last seen alive and dead. Many people don't. But nothing about him triggered any of my instincts.
I believe that they suspected that I might be involved with it because they kept on asking me questions about it. I was very frustrated because I wanted to get home to the children and tell them about this situation. And I said, you know, if you guys are really interested in me, well, give me a daggone lie detector test. Let's get over with this. And so they did.
During the polygraph, Lieutenant Kenda pays close attention to Mark's body language.
Mark's body language is very strong and very truthful in its appearance. He makes good eye contact. He doesn't fidget. His eyes are not in motion around the room. He's not looking down to the right or up to the left or any of the things you do when you're trying to remember or you're trying to lie. He is very straightforward. Body language, there's no indicators to me that he's not being truthful with her.
Mark is released from custody, but agrees to let investigators search his home.
They were looking for what I understood was hosiery. They thought that that was what she was killed with.
We found 2 packages of pantyhose in the bedroom where Mark and Lordis sleep. One of the packages had a pair of pantyhose missing.
But the packages do not appear to have been opened in a hurry.
Those packages are neatly placed there, not ripped apart, not destroyed. There's no evidence of a struggle. There's 2 kids in the house. Mark is just fine. This isn't it. This is not it. And I never thought it was.
With Mark Riddle no longer a suspect, investigators turn their focus on Lordis. Who are her friends? Where does she spend her time? What was she doing on the night she died?
We learn who Lourdes' friends are from information in her house. She has a phone book that contains numbers of women who are from the Philippines.
Lourdes' friends tell investigators that she liked to meet other men from the Philippines. She was known to frequent nightclubs popular with Filipino-American soldiers.
Lourdes Riddle was involved in the nightlife. She liked to party. She liked to dance and go to nightclubs. Maybe she put herself in positions where she maybe was around people that may have wanted to do her harm.
Lourdes went to a number of different clubs, not just the ones on post, but the ones in town as well. Any place that was frequented by people her age who were from the Philippines, which is a lot of places. The trouble you have when you try to talk to people about bar customers, when they're a common customer, they all know her, but she's in there so much, they can't tell you what night she was in there. So it's very, very difficult to put her in a particular place, even though we know where she goes.
Interviews with Lourdes' neighbors further deepen the mystery surrounding her life.
The neighbors are aware that this woman comes and goes all the time. She's often wearing high heels and short skirts, fully made up, and so on. They think that she just is a very busy lady. They don't seem to know much about her, but they know that She comes and goes at odd times.
The media picks up on the investigation. They dub the unknown assailant the pantyhose strangler.
Whenever there is something that involves sex or maybe affairs, then it does become more juicy for the media and just for the public to find out. The public becomes more interested because there are these torrid sort of details that start coming out.
There's more to this murder than just sex. Lourdes has been living a secret life and met someone who wanted her dead. I intend to find out what that secret is.
In March 1985, Lieutenant Joe Kenda investigates one of the strangest cases of his career. Someone murdered 31-year-old Lourdes Riddle and then tried to make it look like she died in a car accident. But why? Did it have to do with her husband Mark's work at a secret military base? Or was her death tied to her secrets?
I'm thinking this still is a personal crime. It's not a sex crime. It's a personal crime. This is somebody really thought this over and decided she needed to die. I still don't have a clue on what that is.
The media has labeled the killer the pantyhose strangler. News coverage has led to a promising tip from a newspaper delivery woman.
She said that she was driving her newspaper vehicle out in that area on that morning, the morning that Lourdes Riddle was found, and she sees a black male, African-American male, across Fountain Boulevard. She was so startled by him appearing, she almost hit him with a car. Had to stop her car to keep from hitting him. He looked at her and then continued to run off.
She thought he was very large, 6'6" to 6'8". Other than that, she couldn't tell us anything.
The witness saw this man less than a block from where Lourdes's body was discovered.
We did immediately go to Lourdes's friends and say, hey, is there any possibility that Lourdes would have dated an African American? Absolutely not. She would not do that. If she dates anyone, he has to be from the Philippine Islands, or she would not talk to him. So it eliminates an African American from her dating.
If the person seen leaving the crime scene doesn't date Lourdes, then just what is their connection? If there's a connection at all.
Who's this guy? This witness says he's connected to the car, but her friends say he's not connected to her. So we need more information.
Investigators contact Lourdes's mother for any information about her boyfriends. And they get a surprise. She tells detectives that her daughter had recently received threats against her life.
When they pressed Lourdes Riddle's mother for details, do you have any names of who might have threatened your daughter? The mother didn't know or couldn't remember names, just knew that her daughter was frightened and felt that she'd been threatened by more than one person. My thought the minute I got that information was, what is Lourdes Riddle doing that would have caused more than one person to want to threaten her? There's something about this we don't know. There's some activity this victim is involved in, and we don't know what it is.
Investigators also learned that Lourdes recently took trips to San Francisco and Las Vegas, alone.
When we examined Lourdes's phone records, we found phone numbers of friends and associates in San Francisco. There were no numbers of any associates in Las Vegas, but there were a number of other phone numbers of people from all over the United States that she knew, most of whom were Filipino. All of it adds up to mysterious activities on the part of the victim, Lourdes Riddle. What exactly is it that you've been up to? What are you doing? You're not just a mom with 2 kids living on an Air Force base. You're flying around the country. You're calling your mother in Tennessee, telling her that there are men that have threatened you. Your husband says you date other men, but you're trying to give this up or willing or to stop doing this. What exactly is going on here with you? Because we need to know that.
Police believe Lordis was keeping secrets, but perhaps not from everybody. Detectives turn their attention to the nightclubs that she frequented.
Bar people have a habit. Their habit is that they're pretty good at deciding who's with who and what people are up to and what's going on. So there's always a source of rumors in bars, and there's always an element of truth to those rumors. So my investigators find at the Enlisted Men's Club at Fort Carson particularly, rumors that Lourdes has some kind of thing going with these people. They don't think it's legal. They think she might be extorting money from some of these individuals. Not sure how, not sure what. Vague rumors. No pin down to these rumors. They're saying that they think somehow she hustles these guys for money.
Rumor has it that Lourdes draws these soldiers in, like a Venus flytrap.
She would go around and sort of seek out Filipino soldiers because she herself was Filipino, and so that she felt a connection there and probably was able to make that connection with them. And she would have relationships with them and then try to extort money from them because she would say that she was pregnant and she was going to go to their commanding officers and so forth.
In the Filipino culture, it's a great honor to be a member of the United States military. If you get removed from the military, get kicked out, quit, whatever, then your family is going to disown you. You have brought great shame on them. So in a cultural sense, you're screwed. Lourdes confronts these males after she spent some time with them and tells them that either they have treated her badly in some way, or maybe she's pregnant as a result of being with them. And if they don't pay her a few $100s, then she will be forced to go see their commander and complain, and they will kick him out of the Army. So someone would be afraid, maybe, and pay a small amount of money. If she's getting small amounts of money every so often, it wouldn't raise any alarms with Mark, wouldn't raise any alarms with anyone. So she could probably do that and know to be the wiser.
Accusations of blackmail add an entirely new dimension to this case, and may be the key to solving it. While investigating these rumors, detectives turn up a new name.
Nolasco de Padua. He, of course, is from the Philippines. He's not a black male, so he can't be the guy going away from the car. He's 5'8", not 6'8". So, okay, he's not the guy at the car. So at that point in this investigation, he's no different than anybody else that she may be spending a lot of time with. We start checking around about people that know Nolasco, and they tell us that Nollie has this friend. His friend is black, his friend is huge, and everybody kind of stays away from him because they're afraid of him. And who would that be? Well, that's this guy named Brian Hawkins, Private First Class, United States Army. He's very tight with Nollie. Well, no. Now we have something that was interesting, now has become promising.
The ongoing investigation continues to draw interest from the media.
When her husband is arrested, or at least brought in as a suspect and to be questioned, I think a lot of people then start thinking, well, this seems like it might be an open and shut case, that it isn't until later on that the police then say the husband's not a suspect anymore, and we're looking at it in a lot of different ways based on her background and so forth. And the information then begins to start coming out and starts developing into being more of maybe a homicide that has more to it than meets the eye.
One thing's for sure, the victim was playing a dangerous game, and Kenda believes it backfired.
Let the facts give me a theory. Let what I know lead me to what I think might have happened. as opposed to the other way around. And those facts are working nicely right now. Things are starting to add up to me a little bit. We're starting to bubble here. We have the right soup, maybe. Somewhere in that circle of friends, or somewhere in that circle of mystery, somebody killed her.
As the Lourdes Riddle murder investigation moves into its second week, the trail leads detectives into a maze of rumors and innuendos.
The way I would describe her friends was maybe she was messing around with the wrong group, because there are good Filipinos. If you get with the right people, I don't care what race they are, and they do the right thing, you're not going to be led down the wrong path.
It was such a strange situation where, at first police thought maybe it was a car accident, and then you find out that somebody put a brick on the accelerator and that it was totally set up and everything. It's kind of like, wow, is that sort of Murder, She Wrote, or some, CSI or show that we're watching on TV that is a murder mystery? I think that adds to the interest in the community.
Lourdes's friends suggest she has been spending time with an army soldier named Nollie de Padua. They also say Nollie has a friend named Brian Hawkins, a tall black man who fits the description of someone seen running from the crime scene.
I'm thinking whoever killed Lourdes might have had a vendetta against her. This murder was personal, and if she's been running scams on people, maybe one of them wanted revenge.
Detectives bring Brian Hawkins down to the police station for questioning.
The initial part of that is, do you know a guy named Nolasco de Padua? Well, of course he does, they call him Nollie. Do you call him Nollie? Yes, I do. Back and forth, we establish a relationship between the two. Do you know a woman named Lourdes Riddle? Yeah, I know her. Okay, how do you know her? Well, she's in a club all the time, and Nollie dances with her, so on and so forth. What do you know about her death? Oh, I don't know nothing about that. Brian is, as usual, knows nothing.
Lieutenant Kenda doesn't believe Hawkins. He raises the ante by bringing up the fact that there is a witness.
People notice things, and they notice you. Remember that lady that almost ran you over? Oh my, Brian. Now that really makes his wheels turn. But we're playing a game with him. I can't promise him things. I can't threaten him. That's against the rules. But I can lie to him, and I'm very good at that. So now we're going to lie, and we're going to say, Brian, we have you by the throat, and see what he does. Now, Brian is starting to come unstuck. We have an advantage. Brian's not exactly the sharpest knife in the drawer, but he is upset, and he's getting more so, and that's perfect.
Hawkins starts squirming in his seat. It does not go unnoticed by the veteran detective.
Everything about his body language tells me he's lying through his teeth. He won't keep or maintain eye contact. He's looking up and to the left when he's trying to talk to me. He can't remember any consistencies at all. He changes his answers routinely. He is a nervous wreck. His foot is bouncing on the floor because he's running that one leg and it won't stop. Everything about this guy, he is a classic case of a liar. Classic. And I tell him that, Brian, you are lying through your teeth.
But Kenda needs proof. He needs a confession.
I'm going to prove to you you're lying. You've heard of a polygraph, haven't you, Brian? You take advantage of a guy like Brian. You know what a polygraph is, don't you? It's a scientific instrument, Brian. Oh, man. Designed by the government. Oh, I've heard of those. Oh, yeah, I've heard of those. Oh, you've heard of those. Good. Now, what have you done? You planted a seed in his head. This is a machine, a very efficient scientific machine that's going to tell us what happened here. Really? But he thinks it is. Close enough for me. He also thinks it's going to let him walk away because he's going to beat this machine too, because obviously he's beat me.
Hawkins takes the polygraph test, and the needle says it all.
He bombs it. There's a big surprise. Then you have another one of his legs kicked out from under him. Another one of his strands of hope here, another one of his lifelines just went away. So you've got him in maximum pressure. And then you tell him, you know, Brian, there's a couple ways we could go with this, because I don't think you killed her, but I think I can probably prove you did. Now, do you want to do that? Or do you think you want to tell me what really happened here? Because one way or the other, you're not walking out of here. Brian starts to bawl and tells us what happened. He says that Nollie tells him that Lourdes wanted money from him.
Lourdes claims she's pregnant, and if he doesn't give her any money, she's going to contact his commander, and they're going to throw him out of the army, and he will be disowned by his family. Brian said that Nollie told him that she wanted $1,000.
But Brian says that Nollie refused to pay Lourdes.
Nollie told Brian that he strangled her with her pantyhose and put her in the trunk of her car. But he's got a plan, and Brian's a big part of that plan.
Brian is supposed to drive this car out to Fountain Boulevard, where all the construction equipment is. He's supposed to throw gasoline all over the seats, take her out of the trunk, put her behind the wheel, soak her down in gas, take this brick, put it on the gas. It'll drive into that equipment at 70 or 80 miles an hour, and it'll explode and burn. And the police will think it's an accident. And while you're doing that, I'm going to be on guard duty. I'm going to have an absolute airtight alibi. I'm going to be on guard duty for Carson.
The way Brian tells it, Nollie thinks he's covered all his bases.
And I'm thinking, you got to be the dumbest guy on the planet, maybe on 3 or 4 planets. So I take him back through this. So you were told to do these things. Yeah. Why did you do those? Well, I forgot some things. Yeah, no kidding. Taking her out of the trunk, that was a big one, huh, Brian? Forgot the brick. Forgot all that. And I'm thinking, what a goof, you know? If you're going to enlist the aid of somebody in a murder, let's pick somebody with an IQ greater than 12 or so. These are not criminal masterminds, or a couple of blockheads. That's who get involved in these things. Blockheads who honestly believe this car is going to explode because they saw it in the movies. And movies are reality to them. But it makes sense to me. So I'm listening to him because now I think he's telling me the truth.
Investigators place Brian Hawkins under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder. But any good feeling Kenda has is about to be turned upside down.
I've got one guy on the hook, but this is a 2-person job. And the other guy is going to be a lot harder to put away.
After Brian Hawkins admits conspiring to help dispose of Lourdes Riddle's body, an arrest warrant is issued for Nollie de Padua. They track him to his apartment complex.
My favorite time to arrest people is 4:30 in the morning. If you work, you haven't left yet. If you've been out partying, you're probably home by now. 4:30 works. So I knocked on his door like I was one of his friends. Hey, Nollie. And he says, hey, yeah, from the other side, because he thinks I'm one of his friends. He doesn't have a peephole in his door, so he opens it. Well, he sees it's us. He tries to slam the door on me, and I push him inside, push him up against the wall. He's got a spring-loaded front door, and it closes. My men are locked out. I'm in here alone with Nollie. He's screaming at me in Filipino. I have no idea what he's saying, but I've got him pinned against the wall.
Kenda's inside the apartment, but the rest of the team is locked outside. No one knew what was happening to Lieutenant Kenda.
I hear movement behind me and I'm thinking, uh-oh, I'm in here and we're not alone. You ever been so scared you can't talk? You ever been so scared you've had a metal taste in your mouth? I have. You ever been so scared that time stops? You can hear yourself breathing? I've done that too. Yeah, I get scared. But moving through that fear is the difference of being able to do your job. You take the fear and you move through it.
Kenda pins Nollie against the wall while he slowly turns around. His heart is racing. There's something hiding in the shadows.
But I looked over my shoulder and it was a dog. He didn't bark, he didn't do anything. He just stood there. I relaxed. Dog's not going to shoot me. But that first instinct when you hear that noise, oh, now you're exposed. And there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing. No matter how much they train you, no matter how much you train, somebody wants you, they're going to have you.
The officers were eventually able to kick in the door, rush in, and subdue Nollie.
Nollie is cuffed and placed under arrest. News of the arrest comes as a relief to Mark Riddle.
We were happy, very, very, very happy that these idiots, these perpetrators, animals, were caught, and that we could get on with our life. It was better. There was no more suspecting of me to have anything to do with that at all, and you know, I was vindicated.
Back at the police station, Nollie denies any involvement in Lourdes's murder.
He's like, man, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know her, I haven't seen her in a long time. Back and forth and so on. He's a wreck, won't make eye contact, changes his story every 10 words.
As the interrogation continues, however, Nollie starts to crack.
We'd already told him that Hawkins had given it all the details we needed. We convinced him we had other details we didn't even have. When Nollie found out what Brian had actually done, as opposed to what he was told to do, I think Nollie realized it's over. It's over. Brian screwed up that plan so badly that we're not going to get out of this. He was right. He's defeated, completely defeated.
Nollie admits that he initially met Lordis several weeks earlier at the Enlisted Men's Club on Fort Carson. He says that they had had sex. She later claimed to be pregnant and wanted him to give her $1,000 for an abortion.
He's annoyed by that, and because he's resisting paying, Lourdes decides to up the ante. She takes his army dress uniform out of his closet, takes it away.
Nollie said that Lordis stole his dress uniform, held it for ransom, and if he didn't pay up, she was going to burn it.
That's Nollie's identity, that dress uniform. And I think that tripped his trigger. That uniform meant everything to him. And now she's going to destroy that? No, she's not. He wants to meet her because he wants that uniform back.
Lourdes shows up, but without the uniform. Nollie becomes enraged.
Nollie has completely lost it. He's going to solve this problem. He's going to save his uniform and save his money by getting rid of this woman.
Nollie snaps. He takes out a pair of pantyhose and attacks Lourdes from behind.
Nollie wraps that pantyhose to the bone and strangles her until he knows she's dead. Then he carries her and puts her in the trunk of her own car, drives back to his apartment, calls his friend Brian. I got to get rid of this dead girl, and you need to help me. Nollie was upset. He wasn't remorseful. He was upset about getting caught, not remorseful about killing Lourdes Riddle. Lourdes Riddle obviously is a participant in her own death. There's no question about that. Lourdes's behavior caused this event to take place. That's true. However, no one deserves to die. No one.
In exchange for his testimony, Brian Hawkins' accessory charge is dismissed. On December 12, 1985, 9 months after killing Lourdes Riddle, Nollie de Padua pleads guilty to second-degree murder. He is sentenced to 14 years, but serves only 7.
He is a scumbag. He took Jackie and Mark's mother away from them. He didn't really care about how it would affect anybody. I mean, if I was king for a day, I would say that he should have been convicted of first-degree murder and spent the rest of his life in jail instead of just going to jail for 14 years and then getting out after 7.
When you strangle somebody, it doesn't happen quickly. It's like drowning, except slower. If somebody were to do that to somebody that you loved, and then they served amount of time that, let's say 7, let's say 10 years, and you were aware that these people are no longer in jail, I mean, that's clearly not justice.
She just had some problems, you know. I think there's nobody here in this world that's perfect, you know, and it's just sad that this whole thing had happened.
You don't ever lose sight of the fact that a woman has been murdered, and that she has a family, and that she's a daughter and a mother and a wife.
She definitely was doing things that I know were potentially putting her at risk, and obviously they were. Even though somebody is bad, it doesn't necessarily mean that whoever did it was somehow justified in what they did, or that a person was, how they lived. I don't want anybody to come back and say the words that, oh, she just got what she deserved. To me, that's not fair.
If you kill, then I'm going to come looking for you, and I'm going to find you. And if we have to prosecute you through the sheriff's department or through the CIA or through whoever, I don't care. I'm going to find you. You've made a decision to take a life. Can't do that. Can't do that. No. And I'm going to pursue you for that. Does it matter how important I think it is? They all are. They all are.
A chance encounter turns deadly.
My first thought when I looked at him was, wow, who made this happen to you?
There's not a lot of good ways to die, but in this case, Victor Woods would not be at the top of the list.
One of the hardest cases of his career.
We're talking about a guy here who's willing to kill anybody to cover up his crime.
Lieutenant Kenda is about to face off against one of Colorado's most notorious serial killers.
Somebody like that, he doesn't need to be around anymore.
I have the ultimate challenge. There's no link to this guy. Who the hell are you?
In the early morning hours of January 26, 1988, 911 receives an emergency call. A fire has broken out in a large apartment building. The Colorado Springs Fire Department races to the scene. The smoke is concentrated in one unit. When they get the blaze under control, the firefighters find several items of clothing smoldering on the floor. They appear to have been deliberately set on fire. Firefighters search the apartment. At first, it's all clear. Then they go into the bedroom. A man is laying unconscious on the floor.
It appeared that he had succumbed to smoke inhalation, but firefighters, upon closer inspection, observed stab wounds in his chest.
Firefighters check for a pulse but find nothing. They immediately call the police.
He was found dead in his apartment due to multiple stab wounds and incise wounds. Some of those wounds entered the abdomen and some of which entered the back. It was clear that some of these injuries occurred after he was dead. When you have cases like that, you know there's been a lot of extreme violence and a lot of anger delivered towards the person to the point at which they continue to injure that person after that person is clearly non-responsive and dead.
Papers and documents in the apartment indicate the victim is Victor Woods. a 31-year-old bike shop employee. The question is whether the fire and the homicide are related.
Concealment fires are very uncommon. It's not something that happens very frequently at all. Generally, if you have a concealment fire, it's because there is something that the suspect believes that is personal to them or is an identifying factor to them that they're trying to destroy, so that it stops that trail of leads for investigators to follow up to try and identify that suspect.
There's a lot of different things you can interpret out of that. One is that this was maybe a act where it was a spur-of-the-moment type thing. I killed the person, now the person goes into panic mode and figures I've got to hide the body, I've got to hide the death. Fire is an easy result.
If the fire was started to destroy the body, police know this is no ordinary crime scene. Veteran Detective Lieutenant Joe Kenda takes over the investigation.
I walk into this apartment. There is a white male in his 30s, Victor Woods. He's been multiply stabbed. One of the wounds is an eviscerating wound. It's a violent, savage attack. My first thought when I looked at him is, wow, who made this happen to you? What did you do? What did you say that made somebody do this?
Looking around the apartment, Lieutenant Kenda is stunned to see that the smoke alarm has been disabled.
When I saw that smoke alarm gone, you get a feeling come over you like, oh my, oh my. He just didn't want to kill this guy. He didn't care who he killed. There were 220 or so people residing in that building. A lot of children, a lot of babies, a lot of adults. A building like that would burn to the ground in a matter of a few minutes. It tells me that this person doesn't care how many people they kill. In my mind, I thought he was exceptionally dangerous. He was willing to take that step, and I felt compelled to really get on this. We have to find this guy.
Kenda examines the victim. Woods has been stabbed numerous times in the chest.
There is blood, and there is blood spatter. It's not uncommon in multiple stab. You get what's called cast-off bleeding. The first blow produces blood. The second blow disperses it. You've got a large bladed knife swung with great force into the victim, and every time that blade's withdrawn and raised back for another strike, it throws blood off the blade onto the ceiling, onto the walls, onto the surrounding area. I've even seen multiple stab wounds where you can count the number of wounds by the number of streaks on the ceiling. You count the streaks and you add one, and that's pretty close to your number of wounds. I'm thinking he's been stabbed between 8 and 10 times.
And judging from the blood spatter, police are looking for a large blade. They don't have to search very far. A kitchen knife with an 8-inch blade sits on a TV tray next to a chair.
It is soaked in blood, both the hilt and the blade. Most likely our murder weapon. Where did that come from? Look around in the kitchen, there's a knife block. The big blade is missing. That's our source. It tells me one important thing. Weapon of opportunity. Whatever went wrong in here wasn't planned. So they didn't come here with a weapon. They obtained one while they were here and left it behind.
A knife being used in a homicide has a lot of other potential other than just harming the victim, especially if it's a case where they've stabbed multiple times and now the knife is bloody, their hand is bloody and it's slick. A hand can slip and actually end up receiving some injury as a result of running over the knife blade itself.
And a wound on the killer may be just as important as a wound on the victim.
I look in the sink and I see athletic socks. They're white. They are the same that are in the dressers in the victim's bedroom. They probably come from the apartment. They're blood-soaked. Those socks in the sink tell me our man's hurt. That blood belongs to the bad guy, not to our victim. He's cleaning up in that sink, or he's trying to.
The socks are sent to the lab for analysis. Police search the apartment for more evidence. They don't find any latent prints, but they also don't find any signs of forced entry. And that may be another clue.
The victim is familiar with the person that they allowed in. They're comfortable with them. They allowed them into their space so that it was easy access for the predator to enter in to commit that crime.
The crime scene provides Kenda with an initial profile of the suspect.
It's pretty apparent there's been overkill, and two things pop to mind. One is a crime of passion, and the other is rage. Either someone was very angry with this person, or somebody had a passionate relationship with that person. Something goes very wrong, and the relationship explodes in violence.
Police turn their attention from inside the apartment to outside. Maybe someone saw the killer leave the scene. Lieutenant Kenda talks with the caller who reported the fire, a 25-year-old pharmacist living in the unit above Victor Woods. She says that sometime around 2:15 a.m., she heard a loud scream.
She thinks it's a woman's scream, and she thinks the woman says, "Don't do that." She hears sounds of a struggle, like maybe a fight, but she doesn't hear anything else. She looks out the window to see if there's anything in the window, and she notices a car. She thought it was a Trans Am. She wasn't sure. Thought it was black, maybe had blue pinstripes on it. She'd never seen the car there before. She thought that was odd.
A second witness comes forward. She's a young athlete training at the nearby U.S. Olympic facility.
She got hurt during her training. She had a back injury, had difficulty with it, had trouble sleeping. She got up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to get a can of pop out of the vending machine. She sees a car leave, really high rate of speed. Car takes off out of the lot. Very loud mufflers, loud engine, but she doesn't see who's in it. She's not sure what color it is, and it leaves at the moment she sees the smoke.
At this point in the investigation, detectives' only lead is a car leaving the scene at approximately the same time as the murder. Lieutenant Kenda circles back to the victim.
The next step is the most important one. Where was Victor? Where did he encounter this person who decided to kill him? So our focus at that point is, give me a timeline on Victor. When was he last seen alive? And we now know when he's dead. Where was he in between? Because that's the key to finding whoever's with him in this apartment.
Investigators contact Victor's employer and co-workers at the bike shop. Some of them tell detectives that Victor had been having some run-ins with another employee.
Oh, really? I like run-ins. What kind of run-in? Name-calling and yelling and screaming back and forth. It seemed kind of odd to me that you would have that kind of heated argument among coworkers. So now we have someone else who's interesting. The car is interesting. This guy's promising. He doesn't like that guy, and he really doesn't like him. Well, we need a guy that really doesn't like him, because that's who killed him.
In January 1988, police find 31-year-old Victor Woods stabbed to death in his own apartment. The killer intended to destroy any clues by setting a fire, but it never caught.
He wants to prevent the discovery. He wants the police to believe this guy died in a fire. He didn't get it done.
Investigators run a background check on Victor and learn that he moved out to Colorado from Ohio.
Vic loved the outdoors. I mean, whether it was heading up to the mountains skiing during the winter or being on his bike, even around town.
He would walk off the beaten path. A very unique individual. I guess I never knew anyone like him. He was, I think, made for Colorado.
After settling in, Victor Woods took a job working in a specialty bike shop.
It had been a couple years, and he had worked at a bicycle shop as a mechanic, and he had gotten recruited by someone down in Colorado Springs. They're opening a new shop, and that he thought there might be potential for advancement in the new company.
He's very good at building and working on and selling bicycles. He's the right guy in the right place at the right time. The guy hires him. So Victor's doing fine. He's getting along.
The news of Victor's murder stuns his family and friends.
I was basically devastated. I just could not believe it.
The only information I had was none. I did not know who he might have been hanging with or what was going on there. Vic, had no enemies. He just wasn't that kind of guy.
We did talk to the local ex-girlfriend. Nothing unusual, nothing out of the ordinary. They just decided to break up, but normal relationship, normal guy. No issues with him as far as she knew. Victor's family provides a picture of a pleasant man who is in the bicycle business. There is no history in Victor's background that would suggest he has ever been involved in any of the high-risk behaviors that often wind up in people getting killed.
When investigators talk to Victor's co-workers, however, they discover that he may have made an enemy.
Well, Victor and this guy, they don't get along. What does that mean? Explain that more to me. They say that Victor and this particular guy have often argued, heated arguments over the method by which a bike was to be repaired, and it was always a bickering contest that got several times out of control. And you think, well, is that a reason to kill for? Well, some people don't need a reason, but that's not a reason. I thought there had to be something else to that. Why so heated? Why so escalating? Why so angry? If all it is about work, there's got to be something else there.
The question is, what is that something? Police bring the co-worker in for questioning.
He denies everything, of course. He's angry, he feels trapped, he's frightened, he's all the right things. Nothing about him is unusual. Takes a while, but he finally says, well, it's more than about the repairs. Okay, because now I want you to tell me a story I'll believe. Don't tell me about fighting with this guy because you don't like his technique, because that's bull. Tell me what you feel. Why are you so pissed at this guy? And he finally tells me the truth, or something at least I believe. This guy was the top dog in his shop until Victor showed up. Now the guy's afraid he's going to lose his job, because Victor is really good at what he does. And he's obviously much better than this guy. So he reacts out of self-defense to yell at Victor and try to minimize his skills and so on. And he's just trying to protect himself. Okay, I can believe that story. This makes sense to me. But still, we're going to play the game. We use the polygraph tool. You take a polygraph about this, about killing Victor? Of course.
During the polygraph, the suspect denies being involved in the death of Victor Woods. But the test results tell a different story.
He takes the polygraph. He doesn't do well on the polygraph. That doesn't matter to me. The outcome of a polygraph doesn't make a difference to me unless there's an admission. My only purpose in using it is to get you to tell me, not the machine. You tell me.
Kenda wants a confession, but instead gets an alibi for the night of the murder.
It turns out he belongs to a pool league. They stay there all night, shoot pool in the league. Nobody leaves. They go to breakfast at an all-night restaurant afterwards. They're not leave the restaurant until 4 o'clock in the morning. He's with them. He's not anything to do with this killing. So now we're back to square one.
Square one is the dead body of Victor Woods and a fast car leaving his apartment complex at 2 a.m. Investigators set their sights on Victor's last known whereabouts.
He likes to go to the Yukon Tavern. He likes to go there because it's kind of a hot place for people in their 30s, which this guy is. And it's close to where he lives. It's about 1.5 miles up the street from where he resides. They thought he went there that night, the night before he's discovered. He worked that day and he got off in the afternoon, and he told his friends he was going to go to the Yukon Tavern for happy hour. So this is good. We know where he worked. We know he worked that day. We know, or we think we know, he went to the Yukon Tavern. At least that's what he told his friends. We find out Victor Woods is there routinely, and he was there that night. That he is a regular. They know him. Everybody in there knows him. They describe him as a nice guy. They also say he can get a little obnoxious when he gets drunk. He stays there all night, and he gets loaded. But he doesn't go home, and he won't leave. Keeps trying to drink. They finally cut him off. He gets mad about that. He wants more to drink. Finally, the place is starting to drift out because it's closing time.
A bartender and one of the waitresses both remember a guy sitting at the bar with Victor. A white male in his 30s.
The cocktail waitress says he's really good looking, looks like a movie star. She was struck by him. She was attracted to him. Handsome, handsome guy. Looks to be in excellent shape, has a tan.
The witnesses recall seeing the two men leaving the bar together at about 1:30 a.m.
The bartender says that after they left, she heard a car start. She described it as a muscle car, and she said that car had some throat. Oh, now we're back from the car at the apartments to maybe something promising.
It's frustrating to get information that you know is linking two different crimes and would be leading you towards a suspect. However, it seems that there's really nowhere to go with it. How do you identify a vehicle that people have said they heard, but you can't really go anywhere with it until you've got that extra factor that's going to point to a specific person, specific car, specific location?
Without a license plate or an identifiable driver, the car is just a tease. Who was behind the wheel the night Victor was killed?
This maniac is on the loose. He's already killed once. And my gut is telling me he likes it, and he's going to kill again.
Several days after the murder of Victor Woods, the police have very few leads in their investigation.
It was a mystery. It was like, why would somebody do that to somebody and then set a fire? You're obviously putting a lot of other people in danger as well, people who lived in that apartment complex. So it kind of takes on a whole different meaning than just a basic fire.
The Colorado Bureau of Investigation examines the bloody socks found in the kitchen. As Kenda suspected, tests show that the blood was not the victim's, but instead probably belonged to the suspect. But the test results don't point to anyone specific.
Detectives have very little to go on. They have a vague description of a car, a vague description of a guy that matches half the men in the United States, 35 and under.
I got zipped. So we're going to try off-the-wall stuff, then maybe get lucky. We got one witness that says this is a jacked-up, customized car. Is she right? I don't know. In the absence of anything else, let's go with that. So I have my guys start contacting custom car clubs, auto body shops, muffler shops, places that commonly do work on cars like that and who commonly know gearheads who have cars like that.
You want to make sure everybody knows that this vehicle, this suspect, this description fits a possible crime scene. You want to get that information out to as many people as possible in hopes that we come up with a lead.
Investigators canvass car shops across Colorado Springs, but to no avail.
We get nowhere. Nobody can put that kind of a car with that kind of a guy. So that straw that we're trying to grab, we can't reach it. We are doing a lot of work with no result. So we need to expand our horizons. What if he belongs to a car club somewhere else? So we expand our search.
Working the theory that their suspect may have connections outside of Colorado Springs, investigators send what they know about the case to the FBI.
There's a system put in place by the FBI called the VICAP system. It stands for Violent Criminal Apprehension Program, a method by which every police department in the country can enter information about unsolved cases. So if you have a case that's unsolved, it may compare to one in some other state or some other city. We entered the Victor Woods case into that system, and we got nowhere with that either. At this point in this investigation, we've done everything we can humanly think of to do, and we have learned exactly nothing. We haven't found our guy. We don't have a clue on who he is or where he is. And we've got this mountain of paper that is absolutely, at this point, meaningless.
When you have nothing to go on, those to me are the saddest, number one, because you've got nothing that you can work on. And they're the most frustrating because you just absolutely have nowhere you can go. You have thought of just about everything you can think of. You've run it by each other. You've talked to other detectives. You've discussed where we need to go, and you just aren't going anywhere.
Victor's friends begin to wonder if he had simply bumped into the wrong guy at the wrong place at the wrong tavern.
I would think if Victor was drinking and if he was unable to make it home, maybe he wouldn't have used the caution that he should have.
The connection to the bar reminds Kenda of something one of the waitresses told him at the beginning of the investigation.
When we're in the bar and we're talking to all these bar folks, we're talking to the waitress. The waitress is cute, young, dressed appropriately for a waitress. She remembers approaching this guy, our Mr. X, our movie star, and he didn't react to her at all. Didn't even speak to her, just looked at her. Her feeling? Well, he has to be homosexual. Why? Because he didn't respond to you?
The suggestion, however, forces investigators down another blind alley.
We talked to everybody Victor's ever known in his life, his family, his co-workers. We find no evidence, none, of any kind, of Victor Woods being homosexual in any way.
Once again, a strong lead goes nowhere.
I had a sign in my office. It says, "Mysteries make my head hurt." And they do. In this particular case, now I have the ultimate challenge. There's no link. There is no link to this guy. Who the hell is he? And how did he come into Victor Woods' life? It's like you sit there and just stare at the wall like, what did I forget? There's still no key here. Where is the key? And you look at your blank wall and you look at it and you say, who are you? Where are you? Where is your car that everybody says you have? What'd you do with the car? Who are you, man? Who are you?
The answer to these questions lies 40 miles south of Colorado Springs. On February 3rd, 1988, 8 days after the murder of Victor Woods, a souped-up Camaro pulls into the parking lot of a small hotel in Pueblo, Colorado. A man armed with a .38 caliber pistol gets out of the car and walks into the lobby.
He pointed a weapon at the clerk and he told the clerk that this is a robbery. About that time, a security guard who was making his rounds around the outside of the hotel entered the lobby. And then the man with the weapon pointed it at the security guard. And he said, "I know you are armed. Don't go for your weapon." And then he approached the security guard, disarmed the security guard, and then shot the security guard right in the face. The security guard fell to the floor, but he did survive, and he was able to hear what happened next. He told us that he heard the suspect go back toward the lobby. He heard a second gunshot, which would have been the shot that killed the clerk laying on the floor. And then he heard the suspect leave the hotel, and he heard a loud vehicle, like a loud muscle car, pull out of the parking lot of the hotel.
The cold-blooded killing shocks the small community.
It was the kind of thing where, wow, this poor person was just at work doing his job and somebody comes in for really no reason other than, maybe a small robbery that's not going to net a lot of money, and shoots this young man just in cold blood.
Lieutenant Kenda doesn't know it yet, but Victor Woods was just the beginning. Kenda is now hunting a serial killer, and the clock is ticking. When Victor Woods is found murdered, the only clues to the killer's identity are that he's a white male in his early 30s and that he drives a loud muscle car. So when investigators fail to turn up any new leads, the trail goes cold. But a week later, a second man turns up dead. This time, however, police have a solid lead. According to the hotel workers, this same suspect robbed the same hotel several weeks earlier.
There was a robbery in January of 1988 in which a female clerk was held up. She had a pretty good description of the person who robbed her.
The clerk provides a description eerily similar to the bartenders at the Yukon Tavern. A good-looking white male in his early 30s. This time, news reports of the shooting result in a tip to the police hotline.
The caller who called in the tip to Crime Stoppers stated that they had overheard Ronald Lee White making comments about having hit the hotel the first time and was going to do it again. The caller then assumed that the second robbery that resulted in the murder was the work of Ronald White.
A background check reveals that Ronald Lee White has a long and extensive criminal record. It also shows that he's been living in an apartment in Colorado Springs. Pueblo investigators immediately contact the Colorado Springs PD SWAT team. However, notification of the impending arrest doesn't reach Lieutenant Kenda.
We pulled a photograph of Ronald Lee White, and we used that in the photo arrays that we showed to the victims. Once we had him identified as the killer, we worked with the Colorado Springs Police Department. Their tactical enforcement unit set up on Ronald White's residence.
White has no idea the cops are outside. As he leaves his apartment, police make the arrest. White is brought to the station. He is one of the most chilling suspects local police officers have ever seen.
When you look at a picture of Ronald Lee White, you see a blank stare in his eyes. I've seen that stare before in people who have committed very vicious crimes. When you look in a face like that, you know that you're looking at a very dangerous, very heartless, uncaring individual.
He's the type of person that is really there's no more rehabilitation involved with Ronald White. There's only taking him off the streets and making sure he can't hurt other people.
On the day after White's arrest in Pueblo, a startling report arrives at the Colorado Springs Police Department.
I run across this Rimmon bulletin, Rocky Mountain Information Network, describing the arrest of one Ronald Lee White, described as a white male, brown hair, hazel eyes. He's born in 1955, makes him in his early 30s. He has a Chevy Camaro blue with light blue pinstripes. He's under arrest for 2 counts of murder. This absolutely piques my interest. Instantly, look what we have here. Maybe we have our guy. But I'm trying to hold back my excitement because I've been disappointed in this case 5,000 times. But this guy fits very nicely, and he is the right look, and he is the right car, and he's violent. So I like it, but I'm just a little bit afraid of liking it too much. But we gotta look into this.
While investigators believe White is the right suspect in the hotel shooting, can they connect him to Victor Woods?
We take his picture out to the waitress at the bar. We get a looks like ID, not a positive ID. That looks like the guy. Great. Bartender the same, looks like the guy. There's no positive ID. We can't put him anyplace. Do I have anything I can take to court? No, I don't. The car is the closest link we have, but we have a witness that thinks it's a Trans Am. His car is a Camaro. The only thing I have is reasonable suspicion. He might be our killer. That's not enough to make the charges stick, but it is enough to warrant a conversation. I need to talk to this guy. I need to get Ronald Lee White to tell me he killed Victor Woods. I need that confession.
White is the type of case that you want to do everything you can, from the district attorney's office to the police department, through the multiple jurisdictions, to make sure that we arrest as soon as possible so that he doesn't kill again and that we convict.
The evidence points towards Ronald Lee White as the primary suspect in the Victor Woods case. But is it enough? Without any guarantees, the veteran detective decides to face off with a possible serial killer in an effort to make him confess.
In many ways, it's a game of poker for all the money. Except we're playing with his life.
On February 8th, 1988, 13 days after the murder of Victor Woods, a new suspect emerges, Ronald Lee White. He's already under arrest for murder in Pueblo, Colorado. But did he kill Victor as well?
I have reasonable suspicion. Do I have anything else? Nope. I don't even have enough to arrest him. But I might be able to play him. I might be able to get him to tell me. So our plan is formulated. We're going to request the Pueblo PD to bring him to the Springs. Now, I want him a little off balance. I want him to wonder why he's being driven somewhere else. Make him think about it. The drive up from Pueblo takes 45 minutes to an hour. Ample time for Ronald Lee White to wonder what is happening. If he is who I think he is, his personality is such that if he thinks you already know, he will tell you what he's done. If he doesn't think you know, he won't tell you anything.
Kenda has his detectives talk to him first, but White just sits there, apparently unfazed by the situation.
He just finds this all to be annoying. You get anybody else in an interrogation room that's under arrest for murder already, and you're about to tag him for another one, he's shaking so bad he can't sit still. That's what makes him a scary dude. He is not the boy next door. He might look like the boy next door, but he isn't. When I walk in, White is asleep. Even though he's in a major jam, he's bored. That's what kind of person White is. But I walk in, I'm a new face. There's a no smoking sign on the wall of the interrogation room, and I see his eyes go to it. Would you like a cigarette, Ron? Well, there's this sign. Yeah, I know, but I kind of run this place, so I can kind of do what I want to. So I gave him a cigarette. He's cuffed in front of him. I gave him a lighter because I wanted to get a better look at his hand without him thinking I'm looking at it. It's been treated now, but still it's going to be consistent with a hand slipping off a handle onto a blade. So he lights his cigarette. We talk for a minute. I said, you know why you're here, Ron? I don't know, is the response. Oh, let me explain. People see things, Ron. People see you. Sometimes you don't see them, or you don't pay attention. Like the waitress in the bar who identifies you positively that you're the guy that's in the bar. And of course, there's that bartender who positively identified you as talking to Victor. 2 other women at the apartment complex. They see your car. They see smoke. That's the night you killed Victor Woods. You see what I mean? People notice things.
Kenda now has Ronald Lee White's full attention.
He's just looking at me, not responding. Not saying anything, just looking at me. You killed him, didn't you? He came on to me, man. He came on to me. He said, Ronnie, try again. He looked at me and smiled and said, well, maybe he just pissed me off. I killed him, like you said. I cut my hand in that knife. That hurt too.
White confesses to killing Woods, but never explains what really happened that fateful night. Kenda believes that the evening started off as nothing more than two guys talking to each other in a bar.
The thing that's so spooky about that whole affair, it's a chance encounter. I don't think there was anything more to it than that. I think that the likelihood is that Victor is drunk. Victor wants a ride home because he's afraid to drive, and he asked the wrong guy for it. And the likelihood is because Vic is sociable and he's been drinking. Come on, let's have another drink. All right, he goes in for whatever reason.
And when he goes inside, something goes very wrong.
Now, did Victor go into his saying the wrong thing, which he did when he drinks? What if he said something to Ron and made him mad? And Ron went off and grabbed a knife and hacked Victor to pieces with it in a moment of rage, because that's what Ron White is. Ron's a sociopath. And I think that's all there was to it. It was a moment in time for Ron White, and it ended Victor Wood's life.
Kenda has his man, but just how many other victims are out there?
We're going to charge you with this murder, Ron, another one. You're making a list. Who else have you killed? He didn't answer me, but he looked at me. And he smirked at me.
Ronald Lee White soon admits to shooting the hotel clerk in Pueblo, as well as his old roommate 3 years before.
White tells the investigators that he is an avid Star Trek fan. He prefers the old programs. He has a roommate, and the roommate wants to watch something else, just as he's prepared to watch his Star Trek program. So Ronald White shoots his roommate in the face with his .44 Magnum revolver because he was going to change that channel, and that's just not going to work.
They were going to be able to obtain the death penalty in Pueblo, and they wondered if we would incorporate our case with theirs in order to better ascertain that result. And so that's what we did on that case.
White eventually pleads guilty to the murders of Victor Woods, the hotel clerk, and White's roommate. He receives a life sentence without the possibility of parole. During his sentencing, White tells the judge that he had a hand in as many as 15 other murders.
We have the general idea of what a serial murderer might look like or whatever, and you look at Ronald Lee White and you think, here's somebody who I would walk past in the mall and never even think that he's somebody who could be so cold-blooded, who could have, maybe a half an hour before killed somebody and then be just walking down the street the next minute.
I thought that this guy was sick and that he should be put away forever. He took something that couldn't be given back. He had no regard for human life, and he would obviously do it again if need be.
Vic was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. This guy was going to probably kill somebody that night anyway, and it just so happened that they crossed paths.
Closure never happens for a victim's family. It just doesn't. I think many people can quietly take the pain. Some people cannot. I think the grief reaction varies widely. Some people can deal with it, and some never do. I don't think anybody ever really does. There's something profoundly wrong about your child dying before you do. That's not the way of things. It's not supposed to be that way. And I don't think you recover from that. I don't.
When Vic was killed. It confused me and enraged me, and it was just one of those lessons in life that life just isn't fair. It isn't right. And things can happen at a moment's notice.
What could Victor Woods have done any differently? Nothing. He's just looking for a ride home. He just finds exactly the wrong guy on planet Earth to provide that ride. Things happen. People die sometimes as a result.